I'm truly honored and privileged to share the service activities of Boston area centers. Just to give some idea about the service activities of the Sai organizations. When Bhagavan Baba allowed his name to be used to form the Satya Sai organization, back in the early part of 1960s, the Swami's Satya Sai organization were named as Sri Satya Sai Seva Samiti. What it means, that is, it is truly a Seva organization, emphasizing the need for service to humanity is service to God. And Swami used to use this particular statement or a slokam from a Hindu scripture, Bhagavad Gita. Paropakarantam idam shariram. What it means, that is the true purpose of human body is to render service to the needy. So under that, Swami has used many of his little statements emphasizing the need for service, not necessarily through the organization, but in our day-to-day life. And some of the famous quotes from Swami, Manava Sevaye Madhava Seva, meaning service to humanity is service to God. The hands that serve is holier than the lips that pray. So, and he also used to use this analogy, like, just like for a bird which requires the two wings to soar high, devotion and service are the two wings for the humanity to soar high in their spiritual endeavors. So he has many times insisted or emphasized the need for service and is an essential part of Sai organization. So giving the importance of service for the Sai organization, you can imagine in 1977, few folks from the Boston area, they formed the Sai Center in Cambridge. In most of the Sai centers, even in India, when the centers were formed, the most importance was given is just bhajan singing. The devotional aspect of that, sometimes maybe study circle in some centers. Service was always a difficult thing. So when people moved from India and they decided to form a center, for them, what kind of service they can do? There is a huge cultural gap coming from India to a Western country, and there was always some kind of hesitancy or some, I would call it anxiety. How do you go about in the society? And these, just to put bluntly, some few colored people, few local Americans go there and we want to do service somewhere, how would they receive that? These are the real challenges and these are the real obstacles. How do you go over all these things? So I would like to take this opportunity on behalf of all the members of the Boston area centers to thank those people who took the first step to go into the society, open their hands and to serve all the needy, starting with the soup kitchen. So people have to understand the importance that how they did it. So we owe them a lot of gratitude for having started that. That particular work has blossomed into a huge vriksha or a tree, which now, as I will tell you as I go along the slides, that how all the area centers now join together to provide service activities together of all the centers to the greater community of Boston area. So 1988 till date, but first thing what was started was in the Haley House soup kitchen. Following that, they started with the Judge Connolly Correctional Home for youngsters there. And 2000, as a part of that, so the people who are one of the most important, late Mr. Thurairaj was actually the most contributing member for the Judge Connolly. What he used to do is these unfortunate young beings, so-called, branded as juveniles, and And for them, the life hasn't given them a great chance to show them, and unfortunately, for whatever reason, they are put behind this correctional facility, and to impart them the self-reliance, self-confidence, and making them feel the most important thing what lacks in most of the people is the self-esteem. So late Mr. Thoraraj uncle used to read the verses from Bible, and he used to give them the importance of how you can also be a contributing member of the society, no matter how the society might brand you. So those are the important things. So people know that how important the Judge Connolly service project was. And of course, following that by Sancta Maria Nursing Home with the musical program, and it still continues that. And every Christmas time, I don't know, I will show you some of those big photos where a lot of YAs and young children performing Christmas carols and other things. But I have been fortunate to participate in few of those Sancta Maria, not a regular participant, but at least on the Christmas event. You can see how the residents of the patients, whatever you want to call, they were eyes and the face will glow, and you can see from some of the pictures. And Grafton form, and Swami always talks about Vyakti from the individual to the Samashti to the society, and he also talks about Srishti, then is Parameshti, how you travel from that. So it is not only for actually providing service to the humanity, but being part of Grafton form. So people used to go and plant seeds and do harvest, and this continues till date. And other thing is knitting woolen caps for the children and other homeless people. I would like to take a special moment to thank two people who continue to do that. That is Mrs. Lakshmi Thoraraj and Mrs. Charusha Auntie. Even they are right now Lakshmi Thoraraj, Lakshmi Auntie came and told me that is, I'm already 80 plus years, I still continue to do it. I'm really looking for who would take over from me once I am gone from this world. It is an important thing that note that is, even at this age, she continues to do that in whatever capacity. I mean, from a young age, from young children all the way up to people of 80 plus, 90 plus years, they continue to do that. So that is the great work, and this is what Swami said. Service doesn't have to be a huge work or huge thing. Whatever you can do in your capacity, you can do that. And these people are the true examples for us. And Narayana Seva and other things. So let me go to the other things. How many people recognize somebody, particularly on the picture on the right hand side? Can anybody recognize who that is? That is Dr. Chandra Kupan's mother, Padmavati Kupan. Unfortunately, she is no more. And the reason is, you can look at the young children and almost look at that time her age. How enthusiastic these people were. This is, I mean, you are talking about 1994, the green revolution and the planet Earth and the other things, that particular, all these, the thinking has never came up during that time of the, years at that time and all. The awareness was never there. And yet, these people had that awareness to go on to clean the beach, which was so bad. And these are the service activities they did back then. And we don't see the both of them. That is Rajiv Sarin and that is David Cox. I don't know how many people there. So these are the stalwarts in the beginning who started the Haley House Soup Kitchen project. I don't know how many people can identify the gentleman second from the left. That is the late Virendra Patel, Alka's husband. At that time, as you say in the beginning, there was only Boston Sai Center. Now that centers, the Boston area has got 5 centers. Originally there was the only center where everybody went to that center and everybody participated in the service activities. Santa Maria Nursing Home. Aha. I don't know how many people can... You know who the gentleman who's playing the guitar? Larry Cow. Amazing thing is, he used to come with his guitar, come to the Sai Center in Boston, and even though he's an American local person, he would sing only Sanskrit bhajans, like John Lee too, same thing. I never listened to him singing an English bhajan. He used to sing Sri Rama Charanam and Kali Kali Mahakali Kripa Kapalini and other things. That the young gentleman standing right next to play, he's a great, the flute player, Kanjira player, great player. His name is Mathur. He was there in Boston area only for a year. Then afterwards he moved up. And here, Larry Kaufman, Lara, that's right, next to him, they used to perform at the Sanctum area. These are the residents of the nursing home. And this is the recent one. Look at from 1994 to 2013. What is so gratifying and inspiring to see is all these young children of our Sai centers performing. So these people have grown the seed, and after the tree has grown the big one, and from the tree comes the other seeds, and the seeds continue to perform the service activities. So this is what Swami always talked about, that is, you start at the seed level and let the nature takes its own course. So that is why the SSE program and the YA program is so important, that we have to kind of, for the seeds, we need to nurture it so that once it grows into a big tree, then you don't have to provide, it will take care of the next generation and generation after other generations. Same thing, Santa Maria Nursing Home. I don't know how many people remember that one of the other service activities that every Sunday when we go to the Boston Center, Indra Auntie used to request people and say that anybody who has got glasses want to throw out, please give it to me. Request people, whatever glasses, give it to me. She is a very well experienced, I don't know how many people know how good she is as an optometrician, and she is a great one, and there are many people can talk about that, and she is the one who started the eye care project, not only providing glasses, but checking them and making sure they get the right prescription. And she continued to do that for a very long time. And this is the one I talked about, the Grafton Farm Service. Grafton Farm is not only that it's a farm area, and the produce from this farm area goes to homeless shelters. This is not a profit or making thing. Whomever founded this farm, who was actually given the farm for growing all this produce, this is naturally grown produce, and mostly they use only organic growth, not to use too much of other fertilizers. Now there is so much going on about GMO and other things. So these had the excellent foundation to grow all the produce organically. So we were part of that. And the other important thing about the Grafton Center is they had a big hall, and for a few years we used to conduct our November Akhanda Bhajan in that hall, and they gave that hall free of charge, and thanks to the Shrewsbury Sai Center people to have found this place and continue to do their service activities. So it is not only providing service by providing the produce to the recipients, but also helping the Mother Nature. The Srishti part comes into play. Please Plant a Project 2008. Here you can see those the mittens and the woolen hats, and these are the ones mostly produced by Lakshmi and Shah and other devotees, and they continue to do that. green efforts, saving Mother Earth by reducing our carbon footprint. Painting project, Raju is doing that and doing the painting. In a small level they were doing that. So, as Meera was saying that the Chelmsford Sai Center was before it's called as Billerica Sai Center, and well before that it was Westford Sai Center, and it officially became a Sai Center in 1995. From 84 to 95, mostly what we were doing was bhajan singing and some study circle, that's all, nothing more was happening. By 1995, Srinivasan uncle and Prema decided that something need to be said about this service project from the Chelmsford Sai Center, which was originally called Westford Sai Center. So as I mentioned, 84 to 95, they were doing only bhajans and study circles. And Srinivasan and Prema, they were saying that we have been doing bhajans, but and the only consolation we had was, oh, we are not an official Sai Center, so we don't have to follow some of the guidelines which was put forth by the USA Satya Sai organization to be really called as the Satya Sai organization. So, but we thought that is, we need to, one day we will become a Sai Center. So in order to become a Sai Center, we need to have a service wing, we need to do some service there. The biggest challenge at that time was, I don't know how many people know about it. The Billerica or the Westford Sai Center people, most of them are from South India. Few from the other part of, majority are South India. Later we had some other local people, Americans joined that center. But at that time, it's all South Indian people. The only thing we knew back then was tamarind rice, lemon rice, dahi rice, and all other vada, payasam, those are the things there. So we were kind of scratching our head. How do we go about and serving, going into an American soup kitchen or a shelter, that what do we provide them? Or do we provide them tamarind rice? How would they receive it? How would they receive it? So that this was always going on in the back of our mind. How do we start? So the real thanks and gratitude goes to Mr. P.R. Srinivasan. And Mr. P.R. Srinivasan went and, remember there was no internet or anything like that. He somehow found the recipe to make a macaroni and cheese and vegetarian lasagna. So when we went to the center, when we told him what we were going to serve, he said we are going to serve a vegetarian lasagna. The very first response from the residents of the shelter was that, vegetarian lasagna, what is it? How can you make a lasagna without meat? Why I'm saying that is, when we started serving the vegetarian lasagna, there was a gentleman who was dropping off some of the leftover food from a restaurant, and he came around and asked, who is the chef? Who is the chef here? I said, okay, this is Mr. Srinivasan there. He said, man, you know what? I'm owner of an Italian restaurant there. I make lasagna and other things, I make a lot of Italian food, but I never tasted a vegetarian lasagna this good. Could you please give me the recipe for the vegetarian lasagna so that I can serve other people? It was so good. I couldn't believe it that lasagna could taste this well. So that shows the kind of work what was done by Mr. Srinivasan. And here is the macaroni cheese. So we make about 7 trays for that. And back to school project, Nashua School. This is mostly collecting all the school supplies. Same thing. And I would like to take this moment to just thank Mr. Srinivasan and late Prema Srinivasan. Because before we started that, Prema and Srinivasan themselves, actually as an individual member, they were doing so much work to the town of Billerica, and they used to collect clothes, other things from Walmart for a very cheap price. And as a members, we used to contribute something, only money, but they did all the work. the kind of work they both did back in 1994, the town of Billerica conferred the hero of the town for Prema Srinivasan. Here you can see. The bad thing is she's no longer with us. She reached the lotus feet of our Sai Krishna.
Just about 10 days ago. So.
Yeah, and it's October 28th of this year. That's when the amazing thing is we were practicing for the Akhanda Bhajan, and we were practicing the one bhajan she would love it. She used to sing the Karuna Sadani Ma. We were singing that bhajan. Right after the end of the bhajan, Ravi Datla received a message from Srinivasan that Prema reached the divine abode of Swami. It was such a perfect coincidence that it happened. It's the same thing. She is Prema receiving the local hero award. Okay, then it goes to the Northborough Sai Center that you can see the different things. The same thing. When the new center forms, it's very difficult to start the service project. As I mentioned, there is always some apprehension. How do you go about in the society and start contributing? How would be received? So when Swami says, you take the first step, then I take care of the rest. So, and Murthy Cheru always used to quote the Swamis that you give your actually availability, I'll give you the ability. And these are all the proof of how the different Sai centers would perform the service activities. Thresholds, how many people know about this particular program? I don't know. The important thing about that is the sad news is out of all developed countries in the world, USA stands first in the number of people incarcerated in a country. It's amazing, such a developed country with so much that is. This country, amazingly, is the number one country where the number of people incarcerated. So incarceration doesn't rehabilitate the people and providing the right self-esteem. This is a threshold program was basically its base foundation is to provide them the self-esteem. And Murthy Cheru originally started this Sai Center becoming part of the threshold program. And thanks to Northborough centers, they took it to heart. And they are the first center to start this particular program. And people in peril, and, you can see that is the first soup kitchen where they started serving the food for the residents of the shelter. Again, if you look at the previous one, a lot of children, it's so amazing to see them participating in the service activities. Whitney's place, and I don't know how many people recognize these people. Atulita right there. Satya and Vedant, you can know Vedant is in India studying there. Little kid, Prashanti, and the Grafton farm. And thanks to them, they only originally started the Grafton farm project. Sandwich cookie baking there. I didn't know that they were good in baking cookies. If I had known that, I would have participated in that program. I had some cookies too.
Making or eating?
That's okay. Halloween at the Whitney's place in 2000. These are recent pictures. Again, Norwood Science Center. That's Norwood Science. It was originally started at Shanta Sharangamani's place. Again, as every shelter, when they start that, it's very difficult to start a service project. And they had a simple sandwich to mainstream homeless shelter, and soup kitchen project was initiated. And here is they are making sandwiches to be distributed. Most of the participants, if you see, there is a lot of young children again. That is good to see. Our SSC children are really an actual part of the service activities of all science centers. Again, food pantry project. Scarborough Maine Center, Sandwich Project. Again, these are all small centers. You can imagine that when the Boston Center in the 1990s, when this center was just being formed, they already had enough experience doing other work. So basically, whatever they could do, as Swami said, in whatever capacity you can do, please do the service, start there. Then I will give you the chances and expertise to expand from where you can start. So these are the examples of the Christmas Veterans Home, similar thing, going there and singing Christmas carols for all the residents of the nursing home. Rebel Street. Okay, I will finish with these few slides of that. One of the unique things about, we are actually celebrating the 40 years of Boston. It's not basically Boston Sai Center, it is the Boston area centers there. One of the important thing is at the central level, you can accomplish certain level of serving the society to whatever extent we can do that. But when we want to go out to the society en masse to serve a lot more people, it requires unity. Swami always quotes that unity from that purity which leads to divinity. So how the unity is important there. The one important thing about to know about Boston area center is how united we are when we want to perform service activities, to go to the society at large, to reach the entire Boston area, and we come together and we do a great job when we unite together and perform that, and the result of that is really great. And here are some examples. This is the LTLC shelter where Chelmsford Sai Center perform our soup kitchen and other food service. That was a really horrible place. It was really, I don't know how many people have seen that. It had a lot of mildew, and there are people who live there. I mean, this is it is a Lowell Transitional Living Center. And it was such a horrible place with cobwebs and other things like that. So Srinivasan said that we serve here, so we want to do something. Then he came up with the idea that is, he proposed to all the centers that is, it's a big area. It's not only painting where we serve the food, but it is also all the residential areas where all the residents of the shelter live there. So we took up this task of getting all the people from a Boston area to do the paint job. And it is a really tough job, really very difficult, and many people didn't know how to paint. But the enthusiasm, that is the most important thing. As Swami said, that is, you give your availability, I give you the ability. Here is an example of that. I don't know, this is the first time we did that. We actually did it at the retreat 2 years before that, in 2006 and 2008. And most important at that time is I need to give thanks to Satya Jamunathan. How many of you know he's called Satya Atrayam? And he was the man behind coming up with the plan and other things. So we went to Boston Common and we did a walk for, it's about 2.5 miles. We went around there. It took about an hour and a half going slowly. And basically, it was very well received. The people were really surprised that when we saw people walking, the passerby, they said, walk for values, what is it about? I don't know how many people recognize the gentleman who holds the walk for values sign. The Glenn Rothbard from the, good to have him, because when we talk to the local people and we don't know how they would receive it, having him, and he was explaining Swami's the human values, the 5 human values. So it was good to have him. Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema, Ahimsa, the 5 basic values on which the Sai organization was founded. So we had different things, people had different signs carrying that. It was very successful. That was done back in 2008. Other thing is Mass Audubon Society Habitat Education. This is in Belmont, and this is a natural place where actually it is it's a walking trail. People go there. It has got almost like 60 acres of land, which is a conservation land. It is actually maintained by the Massachusetts State, actually, Audubon Society. And we went there, and they were so happy. I mean, there are volunteers come there. But when we go there, as all the centers united together, we are like 50, 60 people go there. And what is normally accomplished, which takes many days to finish, we go there with young children all participating. See right here, that is Pranam, Ramesh, Prabhakar, Ramya, Ray. This year, similar to that Sai Aradhana Day, we had a similar thing. One of the things we wanted to do as Boston area centers together is to do seva activity combined together and do it in a larger scale. So this is one of the examples. Satish, Raju, Ajay. And here, after we are done with the hard day's work, basically, and people are having refreshment. Here the refreshments for your tongue and stomach, and if that is not sufficient, if it's not enough, here a couple, they were performing refreshment to your ears too. They were performing music. These are two volunteers at that time they were there, and they were playing violin, and it was so beautiful. I guess that's it.